Hello, welcome to my bookshelf, and today I wanted to share with you 10 books that I'm just in general really excited about, but they're all from authors I've never read before. So these are all new to me authors, so I want to read them mainly because of word of mouth, honestly. Most of these are just books that I've heard really good things about, either on BookTube or just out in the real world. So honestly, I really don't know much of anything about the plots of these books, and I think that they're all popular enough that you know about them. But at the very least, I will link their descriptions and synopses from Goodreads in the description below, so you can check that out if you're interested and intrigued. So let's just jump on in. It'll probably be a pretty short video, but I just think it's fun for me to have these really exciting books to tell you about that I really hope to read in this upcoming year. The first of which is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This was turned into a Hulu series, which I heard was amazing. I have heard slightly mixed reviews about the book itself, but I'm hoping that it really isn't so bad. I know that this is more or less a dystopian book and that women are not treated the best. Let's just put it that way. I'm not sure the details of this world, but I guess it has some really interesting commentary about society and the role of women and things like that. I'm intrigued and excited to read it, or at the very least, just watch that Hulu series once I find someone who has Hulu. The next book I'm really excited about is Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. This was also turned into a series, though this one was on HBO apparently, and it was a mini-series. I also heard really good things about it. I haven't seen it. I know that this is a murder mystery, and I know that a lot of people on BookTube really love this book, just in general, even before the series came out. Overall, all around, I've heard really good things. I'm pretty sure there's lots of twists and turns in this book, and I'm just really excited about it. I don't know what else to say. I was happily surprised to find this book at my thrift store, and I definitely want to read it. The next book that I want to read, I've actually want to read for a while now, because pretty much ever since it came out, a lot of people were talking about it. People who don't even really read books. So I was like, okay, maybe this is something I should read. And that is The Martian by Andy Weir. Again, this was turned into a movie, and apparently a really good movie, which I, again, have not seen, which is pretty tragic, I know. But yeah, I've heard really good things about this book from a lot of people who don't necessarily read science fiction very often. They seem to like it as well. They say it's funny. Obviously, as you can tell, he's stranded on Mars. That's why he's called a Martian. And he's trying to get back. So it's kind of like this survival on Mars story, which is like terrifying to me. Like, I could not even imagine. I am not going to space. You could not pay me to go to space. It's not happening. Just not happening. Not a desire of mine. Never has been. This is pretty much like my worst nightmare right here is this scenario. But anyway, he obviously is really smart and he uses science to survive. So I think it's a really cool book in that sense, where it's like, go nerds! So I'm very excited to read it. Like I said, I've heard amazing things about both the book and the movie, which is really nice. And obviously, I love the color in this cover. It's just like bam with awesomeness. The next book I want to read is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. This just seems like a really fun book. I kind of flipped through it, and it just seems like it's going to be an easy read and kind of fun. And this was also turned into a movie, I should say, which I obviously have not seen because I clearly don't watch movies. I've heard good things about it, and it just seems like a really fun, interesting book. I honestly haven't heard that much about the book itself, but I've definitely heard of it, and I'm very intrigued. So when I saw this, I had to get it, and now I really hope to read it in this upcoming year, because I think that I need a lighthearted book to just make my day. Alright, the next book that I'm very excited about this year is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. I, in general, want to read Kate Atkinson because I haven't read any of her books. And I've seen a couple of her books kind of pop up here and there and be mentioned, and so I've just been intrigued. Like, she has really interesting premises based on the synopsis, as far as I can tell. This one involves, I mean, the little tagline says, you know, what if you could live again and again until you got it right? I'm not sure exactly how that works, but it just sounds intriguing in and of itself, despite the rest of like how this story actually plays out. This idea that like you get kind of like unlimited lives in order to get your life right. And to me, that is just awesome because obviously that's not the case. You only get one life. Don't screw it up. And so I think obviously this idea that, what if things were different and you could kind of have these second chances of getting it right. I just think that's a really cool idea. And I mean, it is a pretty big book, so hopefully I feel satisfied by the answer that this book holds. The next book I am excited but a bit apprehensive about is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I don't know, for a while there I heard like a lot of great things about this, especially the movie, which again, this obviously was turned into a movie as well. So far there's only been one book that hasn't been adapted into a movie that I've been talking about, which is an interesting trend. I also have not seen this movie, but I don't know, more recently about this book, I've heard some negative things. I don't think anyone hates this book, but maybe just that they're saying that it's not necessarily worth the hype. That's kind of the vibes I was getting. We'll see if I agree with that. Either way, I love thrillers. It sounds interesting, and the movie looks cool, but I haven't seen it. I love the actors in that movie, but it's hard to say based off of a trailer if the movie's good or not. But either way, I am very intrigued at the very least to see if I enjoy this book or not. And talking about movies, my next book is actually about the making of a movie, so it can't really be adapted, though that's not, I guess, the case because things like The Disaster Artist are now a thing. But this is called As You Wish, Inconceivable Tales from the Making of The Princess Bride by Cary Elwes. He obviously is the actor on the cover. I love The Princess Bride. It's probably one of my favorite movies. It's just so fun and it's just amazing. And it's pretty straightforward. Like, this is, his behind the scenes telling you of what it was like to make The Princess Bride. And that's really all you need to know. And that's really the whole reason why I want to read it. I love Cary Elwes. I love The Princess Bride. What more could I want? The next book that I hope to read this year is An Object of Beauty by Steve Martin. Like, the Steve Martin, the comedian. Honestly know zero about this book, other than it was written by Steve Martin. And I love Steve Martin. He clearly can do everything, and hopefully he's a good writer on top of that. So, yeah. Alright, and the last two books on my list are both on here just because I've heard about them on BookTube, and I've heard overwhelmingly good things, so hopefully they are worth all that hype. The first of which is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I love this cover so much, probably one of my favorites, to be honest. But either way, I've just heard that it's really, really good, and I really want to read it to see for myself. So I'm hoping for the best with this one, and at the very least, I just love this cover, so you can't go wrong. Alright, and the last book on this list is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. And I know that this involves a murder. I'm not really sure if it's a murder mystery per se, but I know that there's murder involved, so most likely murder mystery. And again, I've heard really great things. And it's got a little bit of like Illuminae style in here. Most of it is just the standard narrative, but there are random things just kind of thrown in there, like a website, articles, and things like that, which are kind of cool and kind of add some pizzazz to the story, which I'm excited about. It's a very physically heavy book, which is interesting. Not really sure why, but hopefully it's a good book. Like I said, I've heard good things, so I'm hoping that they're right. Alright, so those are the 10 books from new to me authors that I am super excited to read in this upcoming year. There have just been books I keep like glancing at when I'm coming up with my TBR. So I will definitely have to work their way into my TBR officially so I can actually read these books because I've been excited about them for so very long, and I just need to read them. So that being said, I just want to, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time.